In every nation's story, there is one name that stands above all, a name that defines leadership, honor, and beginnings. For the United States of America, that name is George Washington, the first president, the commander who led a revolution, and the man called the father of his country. But who was George Washington really? What made him a leader worthy of legendary status? And why does his legacy still guide American values today? Let's explore the life of a true founding giant. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia. His family were landowners, and from a young age, George showed discipline, physical strength, and a strong sense of integrity. Although he never had a formal college education, he trained as a surveyor, gaining skills in mathematics and mapping, and spent years exploring the American frontier. These early experiences taught him self-reliance, hard work, and the importance of strategy, all of which would later define his military and political leadership. At the age of 20, Washington joined the Virginia militia. During the French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763, he gained valuable military experience, although not without controversy. He faced defeat at Fort Necessity, but learned from his mistakes. The war introduced him to large-scale conflict, diplomacy, and the brutal realities of colonial warfare. His courage and composure under fire earned him regional fame. But after the war, Washington resigned, frustrated by British military superiority and their treatment of colonial officers, a feeling that would later fuel his support for independence. As tensions grew between Britain and the American colonies, Washington became increasingly involved in the political resistance. He supported the Continental Congress, opposed the Stamp Act, and taxation without representation, believed in the rights of the colonies to govern themselves. In 1775, with war on the horizon, Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. He didn't volunteer for power, the Congress unanimously chose him, and thus began his most defining chapter. The American Revolution was a war of survival. Washington faced an enemy with better supplies, more troops, and a stronger navy. But his genius lay in strategic retreats, surprise attacks, and unbreakable morale. Key moments: Battle of Trenton, 1776. He crossed the icy Delaware River on Christmas night and won a decisive surprise victory. Valley Forge, 1777 to 78. Washington kept his starving, freezing army together through leadership and sheer will. Victory at Yorktown, 1781. With help from the French, Washington trapped British General Cornwallis, ending major combat and winning the war. Throughout the Revolution, Washington never took pay, refused absolute power, and maintained faith in civilian rule, even when the cause seemed lost. After the war, Washington did something almost no leader in history had done. He gave up power and returned to private life. But America needed him again. In 1789, he was unanimously elected the first president of the United States. He served 2 terms, 1789 to 1797. Setting precedents still followed today. Created a cabinet of advisors, refused to serve a 3rd term, establishing peaceful transfer of power. Maintained neutrality in foreign conflicts. Oversaw creation of the Bill of Rights. His leadership was marked by humility, stability, and vision for a democratic republic. Washington never sought power for its own sake. His writings and farewell address gave timeless advice. Avoid political parties, which he feared would divide the nation. Beware of foreign entanglements. Maintain national unity and public virtue. He believed America should be an example to the world, not through conquest, but through character. George Washington died on December 14, 1799, at Mount Vernon. The entire country mourned. Even Napoleon in France held a moment of silence. Washington left behind a free nation, a functioning democracy, and a model of leadership without ego. He is honored in everything from Washington, D.C. to Mount Rushmore, to countless schools, streets, and memorials. George Washington wasn't just the first president. He was the first to prove that true leadership lies not in holding power, but in knowing when to let it go. He didn't seek fame, he served a cause. And because of that, his name lives on, not just in history books, but in the heart of a nation. If you found this story inspiring, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep telling the stories that shaped our world.